What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Willpower Podcast. I want to thank you for clicking on this video. Whether you're a family member, a friend, or someone who doesn't know me, thank you so much for joining me along this journey. For those of you who don't know me, my name is William Davenport, and I am the host of the show. On this channel, I want to have deep dives with many interesting guests and talk about business, basketball, mental health, school, and so much more. So please, join me along this journey, and don't forget to like, comment, and click that red subscribe button down below, and enjoy the rest of the show. All right, and without further ado, our first guest of the episode 1 of the Willpower Podcast, we have Harvard graduate, champion of the 2022-2023 Corey's Liga, a part of the Helsinki Seagulls, team MVP of the Denain Voltaire, a part of the LMB Pro B League, Ottawa Blackjacks team captain of the 2022-2023 season, and author of recently released children's book, Dream Big, Zeke's Big Leap, Zena Edosomwan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. It's an honor to be here, man. Congratulations, bro. This is
Thank you.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, man. So honored to have you here. And I just want to give you your flowers before we get right into it. Obviously, we want to go through your whole journey of your life with basketball and outside of basketball as well. But obviously, just to me personally, as a friend, as someone I look at as a big brother, someone that I look at for inspiration, I really appreciate you investing in me over the years. But more importantly, give me your time today to myself and to our listeners listening to the pod.
No, I appreciate you, but I feel like we've invested in each other and we've seen each other grow. And just, I'm proud of everything you're doing in the community. With youth nights, with just who you are as a person and what you've meant to the city of Ottawa, and just beyond with just your impact. So you've touched a lot. So it's not one way or the other. It's just it's a mutual energy, and I'm thankful that we got to connect, brother. It's big, and
Thank
I'm
you,
proud
man.
of the podcast.
I appreciate it. So I want to jump straight into it. So you were born in Houston, but raised in LA. I want to know a bit about your upbringing. Also tell me who put the ball in your hands. Who was your inspiration for basketball?
Yes, I was born in Houston, Texas. If anyone knows about Houston, Texas, there's a lot of a huge Nigerian contingency there. So grew up a lot of family, people you call family, and very strong in the community. And then came to LA when I think I was about 6 or 7. So born in Houston, pretty much raised in LA. And my mom started her salon. And when it came to basketball, my stepdad really was the one who took the time, taught me the game. I really didn't enjoy basketball when I was a kid. I didn't understand. I just wanted to sit down. I always say this: sit down in watch cartoons, eat my Cocoa Puffs, and just chill on a Saturday. But he got me into it, and I'm so thankful because it's changed my life, forever. So I'm very grateful.
When it comes to your stepdad being your inspiration and investing into you, can you speak a bit about kind of his approach to it? Because you mentioned that you were more preferable to wanting to eat Cocoa Puffs and watch TV and not really get into it right away. You weren't self-motivated initially. You learned that skill. So talk about kind of how your stepdad influenced you and what his tools were to help you be successful and learn that motivation.
Oh, no, definitely. That's a great question. I think, most of the time when you're learning anything, I feel like, especially when you're younger, your attention span, you're all over the place. So I think you definitely need that guidance to really learn. And uh, he he basically always kind of showed that he believed in me and that he thought I could be really good, even when I was a lot bigger, a lot chubbier when I was a kid, and uh, I just wasn't really trying to be super athletic. So he definitely helped me with a lot of discipline, a lot of tough love. You know what I mean? But he was my biggest fan when I played well, and he would also, but always wanted me to continue to improve and strive. And like I really am grateful to him because I think that approach has helped me not just in basketball but off the court. So we worked very hard, like hard, a lot of running, a lot of hills, a lot of like he has given me the work ethic that I've carried with me today on my own, but he pushed me, hey, I need you to jog. I need you to drive into all the workouts, all the tournaments. And I think for that, I'm very grateful, for him stepping up and just being the man he is. Very thankful.
Absolutely. And even with your mom, it's not basketball or athletics directly, but her grinding with her own business, running with the everything going on with everything going on with hair and building that own business herself. Talk about that hustle. Talk about that influence on you as well.
I think, one thing I've seen with my mom, she's such a pillar in the community, and she's built so many relationships with people in the community because she's been there almost 30 years now. And, she's gone above and beyond just, hey, you're my client. She treats everyone like family. She's guided kids as they've grown up. She's treated other kids like her kids. And when people sometimes didn't have a place to stay or they needed a place for the night, my mom, hey, I'm open. She always is, her heart is always looking to help people and give her best. So I think that's one thing she really I really learned from her. 'Cause when I was younger, I don't think I really
Mhm.
understood just that compassion and empathy. And I was just like, because you're young, you're silly, you don't know. You're, 8, 9 years old. But I'm so thankful that she lived her life that way. She always told me that if you live your life like this, nothing can go in or go out. But if you live your life like this, things can, and I've always kind of
Yeah.
taken that mentality with me. I feel like you're definitely a person who lives your life like that. Your hands are open and you give and you care and you do it genuinely. So I try to carry that too from.
100%. Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to transition a little bit more into high school. You were highly recruited to different
Yeah.
schools, Division One. Speak a bit about your recruitment process, where you visited, where you might have gone to had you not gone to Harvard, which we'll visit more about that a bit later. But tell me about your recruitment process.
Yeah, my recruitment process was really interesting because I was not a kid who was a highly sought out prospect. I think I was probably very underrated or people didn't really see my potential. The only person who really saw my potential was my dad, and he would let everybody
Mm.
know that he thought I was going to be really good, but because he always told me when we were working and I wasn't necessarily getting the hype or anything as other guys, he would just be like, just keep working. Like, it's going to show. I know what I'm teaching. I know what I'm teaching. We watched a lot of Hakeem Olajuwon, a lot of
Mm.
Shaq, Rasheed Wallace. He still loves to today. Like, watch how they make moves. And so I had really good footwork. But in terms of high school, man, I played freshman my freshman year of high school. I went to a really good, Harvard Westlake. So now it's a nationally ranked program, but even then, a lot of historic, Division One guys every year. So I didn't play much. I played freshman my freshman year. Ended up playing varsity in the spring. Sophomore
What
year,
changed between your freshman playing freshman and making that jump to varsity? Like, what did you do to control your ability to improve, but also physically developing? Obviously, a bit had a part to do with that.
I think I just trusted the process because the guys who were ahead of me were better than me. I mean, they were older than me too. So it was Eric Swope and Damian Kane. They both played Division One. So it was a lot easier not easier, you're still competing, you're still competitive, but it was a lot easier to be like, I got to keep working and like, this is my process because they had to go through the same thing. So it kind of was just like, I had to kind of, learn. And they were also just really great, leaders, especially Eric Swope. He actually ended up playing in the NFL without ever playing a lick of a lick of high school or college football, and he played football.
Okay,
I mean,
so freak athlete.
yeah, freak athlete, an amazing
Yeah.
person, and someone who I just whenever I get a chance to see him, but rarely, like I really appreciate because he really took me under his wing. I remember you, yeah.
What was your playing time like when you played that when you made that jump after freshman year, then to play varsity? Were you playing right away? Were you on the bench? Were having to learn and work through the pine?
I was getting sparing minutes, but I just kept
Yeah.
working. You know what I mean? And like my time was coming because they were both
Mm.
in seniors. Eric was a senior, and he was a state player of the year at that time.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So but I was happy to have
How
that.
did you draw absolutely and how did you draw value from that experience while you were in it? Like looking back on it now, you can see it and you can understand it because you can let it look at it from that perspective. But back then, without even knowing, you were gaining so much from it. Can you explain a bit about that?
I think I just learned patience and that,
Mm.
I think with anything in life, and don't get me wrong, I'm not always patient all the time, I have my human moments. And just in regards to like sometimes you're like, you want it now, you want things now, but I had to learn in that moment as a young kid, like to be patient because when you're seeing other guys freshman year playing varsity and they're starters or they're playing really well, and for you to be like, you know what, I'm gonna keep grinding, keep going, and kind of took a harder route, but I feel like that's been kind of my life story. I've had to take a lot of more difficult routes. But at the end of it all, I learned so much on that journey. I learned about myself, and I feel like it helps me just in my guidance in life. And I think that's really important. So I've had to learn how to
Absolutely.
take. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you chose Harvard University. That's huge. That's amazing. Beyond impressive. Why did you pick Harvard University? And I'm not sure if you had other offers from maybe bigger and more stronger athletic programs. What made you pick Harvard?
Yeah, so going through my recruiting process, basically after my sophomore year, my junior year, it exploded. That summer going to my junior year, the offers started rolling. So I had about 40 Division One offers. Like my
Wow.
dream school was like initially UCLA. They offered me USC, Marquette, Texas, Cal, Washington. Like I went to visits to all these schools, and it was a dream to see these college coaches, at my house now, talking to me and wanting me to come to their school. But during my recruiting process, I went to a very academically rigorous school. Harvard Westlake is known for just you have to be really disciplined with your scheduling, with your like you don't really have like as a young person, you really learn like I don't have time to play around with my
Mm.
time. I have practice, I have school, I have homework, I have sleep, wake up the next day, do it again. But it all pays off. So during my recruiting process, I actually thought I was going to go to USC because that was a place I was like, it's close to home. It's Pac-12 at the
Yep.
time. no longer Pac-12. It's gone now. But the campus is beautiful. There's great alumni. Like I considered all these things, and like it's big, high major Division One basketball. Man, when I went on my visit to Harvard, 'cause I really didn't even know how good of a quote unquote people perceived Harvard. I just knew it was a great school, but I didn't know. Once I went to visit Harvard, it completely changed everything for me. And Coach Amaker was amazing. Kyle Casey, the guys who showed me the tour. To be honest with you, I thought people were going to be very, I don't know. I thought, people have this perception of Harvard or people that go to Harvard is very like pretentious, as they like to say, right?
Yep.
I was like, will I be able to fit in? Because like, even though I may luckily to go to this amazing high school, I'm pretty chill. I'm not really like, I don't look at I'm just myself, and I have love and respect for everybody. It doesn't matter. So when I went there and saw that was the same type of energy, in terms of with the people there was a lot of down to earth people. It was a lot more diverse than I expected. I was like, oh, I could be here. So that made a big difference for me.
No, absolutely. And can you speak a bit on some of the courses, the workload you had, and what was it like balancing the basketball, the athletics, and the academics with Harvard being your studies?
Yeah, when you go to a place like Harvard, I feel like overall the culture is known for academics and have prestigious people. Like your professor's the best at what he does, right? It's sociology, if it's medical, they're gonna have the best of the best. Like I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about, so they don't necessarily care, I feel, as much about sports as maybe other schools are, because sports isn't how they kind of, it's not a sports school per se, but they've definitely grown in the culture and how much they appreciate sports. But like if I go to a teacher and tell them, I have a game and I had to turn in the homework a couple of days later, or can I get an extra? They're gonna look at me like, so, and I appreciate that because I
Yeah.
think a lot of times as athletes, and what I've heard and talked to other athletes, when you're in college, there's a lot of privilege you have, so you get treated very differently. So by me kind of just really being a student and having to even look, it was even harder because no one really cared that I played sports. They're just like, I need to still get it done. It kind of made you be even more on top of your stuff and really organize yourself. So it was good. It was
Absolutely.
good.
Now, looking up to that point in your life, finishing
Yeah.
Harvard, if you could go back in time and maybe change some of the decisions you made or your approach going into certain things, what could you have changed?
Hmm. There's two parts to that. I think the first part is for me, like, I really thank God for everything I've been in on my journey because I think it's what got me here and it's what connected even us today. You know what I mean? So, like, if I were to say, I wish this would have happened, that would have happened, there's definitely things you wish you could have changed. You were like, but it's like, you know what? I want to focus on like where I'm at presently. And I'm so thankful of where I'm at presently because the person I am today and what I've learned from those struggles, from those disappointments, I really learned how to navigate a lot better. And it's helped me a lot. And uh, I wouldn't take it back for anything. But it's still like, oh, I wish I would have. So, but I guess if I was really to answer that question and to really think of things, I would have been like, hey, I think when I went into my senior year, I had a really good junior year season. It was very, very played well. I played against like Buddy Hill, other national teams, had like 25-17. We lost the game, but we played really well. I played really well, and I was feeling really good into that season. And I think my senior year, I had a much more of a down year. Just truth be told, comparatively speaking. I think I would definitely just go back and be like, hey, you know what? Could have been more focused here, more diligent here. And I think to anyone who's watching this, and that's why I was just thinking about this probably like last week. When you have those moments or opportunities in life, especially when you're younger, take advantage of them because you never know when it's gonna come again, and you don't want to sit back on those moments and be like, woulda, shoulda, coulda. So like, no matter what, I think you should always, even if it doesn't go exactly how you wanted to, just being able to be like, I did my best when the opportunity was there, and you can look in the mirror and be like, I tried. So I think that's the biggest thing that I would, just my advice to people and just from
I
my
love
learning.
it. I love it. I want to take a quick second to thank today's sponsor, Nobody. However, if you're a brand, business, or service and you want to promote what you have going on my platform, you can send me a message on Instagram at willpower.podcast or send me an email, which can be found in the description down below. And please enjoy the rest of the show. After college, you didn't make the typical transition to professional basketball. You went from college to 3 years away from basketball, whereas most people go from college to NBA or playing in Europe overseas. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but prior to that hiatus from basketball for a couple of years, you did declare for the draft, correct?
So yes.
And can you speak a bit about your process, your draft process? Because you hear so many stories about guys that make it to the league, talk about they worked out for so many teams and this, that, and the other, but a guy that didn't necessarily have it all panned out in that perspective from the NBA. I want to know about that story, how that came about.
Yeah, I think after kind of like pretty much like just not maybe the greatest senior year, it was like a disappointing year. Like, those opportunities weren't as, I guess, fair. So, but I had to work out with the Celtics. That was really amazing. Just to even step into, and have an NBA workout, have an opportunity, especially coming from the Ivy League. Amazing. I think it was a good workout, but I really couldn't shoot the three at that point. So it wasn't great when it came to that. But yeah, it was, I think that time in my life was very difficult because I just was like, I'm a very passionate person. I think whenever I do something for me personally, like I want to genuinely be invested in it and just feel, I think just feel, just know like, because no matter what you do, it's going to take work. It's going to be a grind. So if you're going to, especially with sports and physicality, the mental, everything that goes along with it, you need to really be locked in and be prepared to make that proper commitment. Because if not, I just feel like that's a dangerous game. So it was, it was, it was a tough time, but I learned so much. And I actually ended up going to the startup space, started my own company at that point, and just working on that. Went back to Harvard and started in the entrepreneurship program, got into that, and then started working in the startup space. So I thought I was pretty much done after that. I wasn't really sure. Like at that point, I guess after my senior year, I wasn't quite sure if like is basketball gonna still be. I never played again. To be honest with you, I didn't touch a basketball. I think for like legitimately, like didn't touch a basketball for almost 2, 3 years.
Wow.
Like barely wanted to play. So I really thank God to be where I'm at today and how much the game has given me and how much it's touched my life in that regard and just the bounce back. I love my story.
Absolutely. And during that time, what brought you back to the game? What itch did you feel? At what point did you feel like you need that itch to be scratched to get back into it?
I mean, I think I left the game at that point in a very sour,
Mm.
sour feeling, just because like it didn't go how I wanted to. And I feel like a lot of players will tell you like when things don't go how you kind of, and it's like this has been a game that's been a part of your life for since I was 7 years old. It's almost like a breakup, man. It's tough. But this is your baby. It's something you guys literally grew up together. So, it's almost like you took that time away from each other to reconnect and really grow. I think a lot of guys when you played in high school, middle school, or college, or even at the pro level, like a part of you kind of, I wouldn't say dies inside, but like I don't care how smart you are outside of basketball, like there's definitely a transition to where like it's very difficult. And you're like, you almost asking yourself, who am I? What am I in this world? What is my, you know, because it's been such a big part of your identity since I was 7 years old, going to weekend tournaments, going to training every day. All of a sudden, like, what do I do now?
Yeah, absolutely. And like during that time, I think there's a sweeter moment, the sweeter love to it of the way you appreciate the game now after you've experienced all of that to then fall back in love with it. Can you share a bit about that moment where you really looked at yourself in the mirror or looked at yourself in the gym and be like, man, I love this game? Like when did that click in your head to realize you want to get back into it and give it your all?
I think for me, one of the things, and I'm going to really salute to my guy, Athletics, amazing trainer, amazing human, amazing basketball mind. It's, training a lot of great guys. He was with me when I was in college and had my best season. So he saw me and he basically helped me get to that when I was really just all-time confidence, playing super well. Because his teaching methods and his intensity level, like he demands from himself, really, really is big. I think there was one day at a gym called 360. It's no longer existing, but it was like a very popular gym here in LA. Like you would see that area in the Valley, and a lot of NBA, like impact basketball, a lot of NBA. Like I've seen, Nick Young, Marcus Cousins, Paul George, all working out there. So during the summertime, especially off season, it's packed with players. Players are coming in. Like you see so many guys training. It's a private gym, and at that point, I was a member of the gym, but I wasn't playing basketball. This gym has been a
Mm.
part of my life since I was in high school. So I've been seeing, and I've been a part of the workouts with all these even prep guys, whatever. So one day I was like 300 pounds at this point. Big, a lot. I wasn't playing anymore. Dash and Trav and Dash are both friends. They're both coaches, both great guys from New York, both basketball guys, and they're like, "Hey, you can still do this." I remember exactly. I think it was Trav and Dash, but Dash brought me in. It's like, "Hey man, let's just get on the court. 15 minutes. We'll just do a 15-minute workout." And I couldn't move my body because it's been so long. I was slow. I could barely dunk. I mean, I was like, I didn't have the movements to obviously play professional basketball or even regular basketball. And but what that did for me was it sparked, that kind of like, 'cause I felt like I'd already been kind of missing the game because I didn't like the way my relationship with the game of basketball ended. It just kind of like, that was it. But slowly, just I was getting in the gym, start off with a 15-minute workout, 20, then 30. And next thing you know, I went into about a year and a half straight of just training, hooping, getting my body, my mind right. Well, here we are now.
Absolutely. And I mean,
Five.
Dash is definitely on my bucket list of someone I want to get on the pod, but I guess I
Absolutely.
want to speak more in detail on that training regiment and that preparation and getting ready for that professional basketball now. So you're working with Dash, you start with 15 minutes, you start working your way up.
Yeah.
Talk about the training regiment. What were stuff you guys are working on? What are you doing to relearn basketball? What's the emphasis and what's kind of the focus?
Literally, I had to relearn basketball. Number one was conditioning, right? Because you got to be able to move and just getting my movement correct. So actually, that's also connected me to Alex. She's a trainer. She's really good. Minimum on average, I was doing at least 2 days of workouts plus like strength and conditioning. Some days we do 3 workouts. But like I was in the zone. So and the gym was so hot, was ridiculously hot. But we just stayed with it and we kept grinding and we kept moving. I think it's just one of those things I just felt like with anything in life, like everything is momentum and energy. So I didn't even know how I would get my next opportunity. I just started, it started off with the workout and started off with, hey, you know what? Let me just start playing around LA. Drew League, little leagues around the valley. And at the end of the day, you live in a world where you never know who knows somebody. But when you're in the basketball world, it's no matter what city you're in, it's all interconnected to some degree. No matter what city league you're in. So from there, hey, there might be a little tryout here for this. There might be a little tryout here. So I really just trusted that, like, I trusted God's plan. I also just trusted like the work that people are telling me like I don't know if he'll be able to get an opportunity. It's been so long. It's been so long. It's been so long. It's been uh how are you gonna get back in the game? You don't have a resume. It was 3, 4 years ago. Like I knew like, I'm talented. I'm 6'9". I'm athletic. I'm strong. I've really put in my time and effort. I've been a top 100 player in this country. So like it just started to fuel the underdog mindset in me to keep working. Everything else is going to work itself out.
Absolutely. So you get yourself back into playing shape, basketball shape, from being 300 pounds away from the game for 3 years to get back into playing professional basketball. You made your transition to Canadian basketball, playing for the Sudbury Five.
Yeah.
Can you speak a bit about that culture shock of being away from home, but now in a whole different country, still in North America, but still that's still quite the transition from going LA to obviously being at Harvard, now to Sudbury Five. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to really thank the coach, Coach Sudbury Five, for even giving me the opportunity. Really, all I at that point I had was a G League trial with the Raptors. I had pretty well, and just getting the opportunity to be in Sudbury. I had never. It was very cold in Sudbury, but we had the most amazing fans. We had the most. They really tried. They really did an incredible job, and a lot of talent in that league. So just getting the opportunity, still being in North America, but I was so happy, so excited because here was an opportunity to play the game of basketball. Someone to even give me that check to say it opened so many doors. It's opened my first like Canada honestly has done a lot for me in my career. Truly, truly, truly. Like from the Chile Raptors to Sudbury Five to the Ottawa Blackjacks. Like Canada, just like the people, has been kind to me, very nice to me. So I'm very thankful because that Sudbury Five now actually gave me film. I had actual game film now. And that led to my first opportunity in Europe. And any guy who doesn't obviously knows if you don't play in the NBA, like oh, your first real kind of major overseas is Europe. That's going to be kind of the next big market or kind of historically established place.
No, absolutely. And I want to talk more about the 905 you had mentioned, working out for the Raptors 905 at the tryout. You got the chance to play in front of Nick Nurse. Talk
Yeah.
about that opportunity, going into that opportunity, knowing that Nick Nurse, the coach of the team, is in the gym. There's obviously got to be some nerves, some butterflies. How did you overcome that to then perform?
What's really interesting when I went to it actually started out like this. I was in LA and I get a call one day and I'm working out with Dash. Dash actually, there's usually runs that go on, some like NBA runs. And it
Mm.
was Rico Hines running. It was at
Rico runs, yeah, yeah.
the sports academy. So like there's the Sacramento Kings, there's the Raptors there doing like summer training. And there's like other just NBA players. So like Norman Powell was there, Kenneth Faried, Scotty Barnes, I think that was his rookie year. They just kind of throw me into the fire. Shelby obviously is like, hey, here's an opportunity. You can come for the day. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what it means. I just say, that's just, that was Dash and his network and him just believing in me on our work. I went there and I just remember like I played so hard. I played so hard. And I was a guy, think about it, I didn't play basketball at a professional level in since college, right? Not even professional yet. So I'm essentially a rookie. I'm going up against obviously NBA guys, but my mind, I've been working so hard and I'm so hungry for it. It don't even matter to me because I'm just here to compete. So all I did was keep my role simple, play hard on defense, talk. I talk so much on defense that like most, a lot to younger players especially, coaches pay attention to the details. People that really understand the game of basketball, as Coach Will, like it's the little things that the intangible, the things that like that make a difference. I ran the floor, I finished around the rim any chance I got, and I played defense. That's all I did. I didn't try to do nothing else special. And then from there, they invited me back the next day. So like imagine the conditioning of playing with NBA guys after never really being in that type of mode, but then come back the next day, prove myself again. So the second day I proved myself, they actually gave me like a jersey to work out with. I'm just wearing my regular stuff. They're all in like Raptors gear and everything. And then from there, I got the invite to go work out in Toronto. So it was just cool being in the Raptors facility, getting to work out there. And now I had to go up against probably 50 other guys, and only one guy got picked, and I was the one guy
Wow.
picked. So, and I didn't like I wasn't the best scorer, I wasn't this, but like I played defense, I finished, and I talked on defense and just played hard. Right?
Junkyard dog.
Yeah.
Junkyard dog. That was you.
That's what Dash told me. Like, hey, if you do this, no matter where you go, you will get a job.
Yeah,
Um, and I did.
absolutely.
So yeah,
Was that what they emphasized with you? Even though it didn't pan out at the end, I'm sure they still ended it on good terms with you. And they had told you, we love what you do because you control what you can control and you do all the little things that nobody else is willing to do at the highest level.
definitely. I think I definitely gained their respect. And honestly, at the end of the day, like I can wholeheartedly say I gave my best. It didn't work out how I wanted to, but it doesn't matter because I am thankful for the opportunity, and also that I can look in the mirror, like I said from earlier when I was younger, to now when I got the opportunity, I was so laser focused and I gave every ounce of what I had to that opportunity. So it's like at that point, my hands are up. You know what I mean? Like I've
Yep.
done my part, and thank God that led to, and then the next year we won championships.
Which we will visit. I want to get into that in a second. Absolutely.
It still worked out in the end. I'm thankful.
For sure. Now, remaining in Canada, I want to focus on the time with the Ottawa Blackjacks playing the CBL, the Canadian Elite Basketball League.
Exactly.
Talk about how that opportunity came about.
I know it's funny. Devon Shepard, who was the GM of you know, and now he's an amazing announcer, done the NBA Finals. He's doing incredible. Really, I'm really thankful to him because he saw me at those workouts and just stayed connected. And when the opportunity came for the CBL in the spring, he basically was like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this?" And I really thank him because that opportunity with the Blackjacks absolutely changed my life and the trajectory of my career. And obviously getting to meet you, getting to just fall in love with the city of Ottawa and build just amazing relationships there, and just my continued kind of growth and love for Canada. So I'm thankful to him, and that's kind of how it all started.
Amazing. Now, early on, you and I have had conversations about it as we got to know each other, but you struggled early on with the Blackjacks and even shared with me there was a possibility of getting cut. Can
Oh
you
yeah.
talk about a little bit about what was it you're struggling with and also how you overcame that? Who did you have to fall back on to get that support to overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't performing well, and that's what it comes down to. We're in the game of no matter what you do, what job, it comes down to performance. And I think I probably had like I was just because the CBL to me, think about it, like it was such a big opportunity, and I think I put so much pressure on myself initially of just wanting to do well in an opportunity instead of just playing basketball, playing the same game I played. But this was me still trying to transition my brain into like I've been playing in survival mode because I had to come back and build from nothing. So I want the opportunity. I want to win so bad. That's actually kind of messing me up because now I'm putting so much pressure. So things aren't going my way. Now it's like, I learned a lot. And during that time, it was very difficult because I just had a stretch where I was like not performing well. I had like, it's just bad. Like I'm straightforward about it. It was bad. It wasn't what it needed
Absolutely.
and at the standard at which I hold myself to. So that was frustrating. And when you're working hard, you're trying to figure those things out and it's not going well. And then like, I could tell, like, I think most hoopers know sometimes you may not, things happen, but you can tell, like, you have a couple bad games, no one really starts to talk to you that much anymore. The coach is kind of like avoiding you a little bit. You kind of know, hey, I might be at the chopping block right now.
Yeah.
But thankfully it all worked out.
Who did you fall and lean on to help you overcome that? Knowing that, man, like I'm sensing it. I feel like I'm right on the edge of getting cut, but then it clicked. What triggered that? What made it so that you stopped putting so much pressure on yourself? And who did you talk to help overcome that situation?
I think Dang Adele, Dang Adele's my brother. He's obviously a superstar for the Blackjacks, but he really is someone, he's just like, hey, man, you can be dominant. Like, stop stressing yourself out and doing all that stuff. Just like, and it meant a lot coming from him, obviously, like his NBA experience playing for Louisville. He's accomplished a lot. So when someone like that tells you, like, yo, I think you're a good player, like, you just need to kind of do these things, and I think you'll be all right. And that really helped me. Also, like I always have to say this, but Coach Jimmy, during he was really big in helping me learn to relax. My pregame ritual before games was so like I had to lock in, lock in, lock in, kind of like a KG mode, you know? And sometimes I found that like I was too tense. So he kind of was like, hey man, you need to relax. Like he said, he was like, he was watching my routines and he'd be like, "Yeah, you need to relax. Like, you need to just like listen to some softer music. I started listening to like Bob Marley, just, you know, but still
Yeah,
like locking in, but just more like
for sure.
enjoying the moment more than that.
Absolutely, because it all starts with the love of the game, right? Because I think you needed that intensity to get so far and get these opportunities, but then to remain there, you got to know who you are. You're here for a reason, right? Rather than thinking you're so hungry to keep going, you got to know I belong here. I love that. That's a great answer. I want to talk a bit more about the CBL. So they put such a focus on building Canadian talent, right?
Yeah.
Having youth sports players and having Canadian players be part of their league. They want to give them the exposure and also put them on the platform to compete against some of the best players that have played at the highest level for the NBA that have overseas experience. Can you share a bit about your preconceived notion prior to coming to Canada on the talent around Canadian players and then having then played in the CBL? What did you think then afterwards?
Now Canada has amazing talent. I think beforehand I kind of had a glimpse of it with the Raptors workouts. So I kind of
Mm.
met, oh, these are Canadian guys and just the Canadian level of talent. And even playing with the Sudbury Five, there's a lot of Canadian players too. So I was kind of like already a little bit awake to it. Plus at Harvard, I had a lot of Canadian national team teammates. The Villager, who plays for Scarborough, Corey Johnson, Chris Aggie played at Montverde with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So and these guys were all highly ranked, highly like recruited players. So I kind of been like, oh, Canada has a lot of, you know, obviously amazing talent. But seeing it in the league overall was pretty amazing. I'm so happy to say I played in the CBL because it's a league where so many other guys have messaged me like, hey, how do I get into the league? How do I? It's like it's very, very tough to. It's competitive, not just for the imports, but for Canadian guys too. Guys are getting
Yeah, absolutely.
transaction release. Like it doesn't matter. Like for everybody in that league, it's very cutthroat. You know.
Yep. No question. It's a professional league and they're doing great things. And I think being in their 6th or 7th year now, I mean, they've blown away expectations in the way they're developing and growing. It's great to see. You played in Finland next for
Yeah.
the Helsinki Seagulls, and you're part of a winning culture because a lot of the roster was quite older, right? Late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s even. And you were the young guy. And that was new for you at that point. Correct me if I'm wrong in your professional career. What was that like to go from not a leader with life experience to then being the young guy around the whole locker room?
Yeah, it was. I feel like I've always been someone who, whether you're younger or older, like I have, especially, but I've always like I said, when I was in high school, I had Eric Swope. So to have some older guys who have done it at a high level and have done it for a consistent long time, I've always been very much like, hey, can I learn from you? What did you do to succeed? What did you do to stay here? So I like to be a sponge and really soak up as much game because anyone who's played the game or anything you do in life, to be somewhere, to be consistent in it, it's like that's a skill in itself. So I like to ask questions. So Rene Rougeau was my vet, and he was amazing. He was amazing. He's a 5-time champion of the Finnish league. He just won again last year. So we brought the first championship ever to them, but he really pushed me because he was an older player, but he played so hard. He played so hard, and he would push me like, Zeke, lock in. So like together we became such a great defensive tandem. But he was such an amazing leader, and he's someone who I still. And also we had another guy named Timmy, and he was about I think believe at the time 41, 42, super still in shape, super still played his role. But man, to play 20, 25 years of professional basketball, I commend that. I respect that. So those guys were amazing at the coaches there. Coach Bessa, who's now the head coach. I thought my coach, but UC, Coach UC, yeah, Coach UC.
Yeah.
Amazing people, amazing organization. Like I couldn't have had a better first year in Europe experience, and they're just good people, really good people. The strength conditioning regimen, everything we did there, and also my teammates were unbelievable. Like, all that stuff matters when you want to win championships.
Yep, absolutely. I think the one thing I want to touch on is the best ability is availability, right? And being an older roster, it was really impressive to see everybody stay healthy for a long season and then finish the season out to win the championship.
You kept in touch,
Can you,
right? Yeah,
sorry?
kept in touch then.
Yeah, that's when you and I first started to get connected. I reached out to you and then I stayed in contact through the year, which we'll touch on more afterwards, definitely, of how you and I got in contact. But just focusing on the longevity aspect of a lot of older guys and playing through durability and all that. Can you speak on a bit of the regiment, the emphasis that the team put on getting in the weight room? Obviously, conditioning is a big one, flexibility and doing your stretching regiment. Talk about even the nutrition. We can go on, right? So talk about, as a team, the culture of what made it a championship team that year.
I think whenever you really want to be a part of a championship team, you can't be afraid of who gets the credit. So we had three guys on that team that won Player of the Month. It's only what, an 8, 9 month season. So three players on that team, myself,
Wow.
Renee, and Jeff, and also Trey was a great point guard too, another import. And we all wanted to obviously perform well on a personal level because anyone overseas understands like you have to perform, you have to. But at the same token, like everyone was bought into like, oh, we're a really good team that we can really win this. So guys have to be committed to that, to each other, to really be like, I don't care if this game, like, you're the guy and you get the most points. Like, as long as we win, and that's what I really loved about that team. Like, everyone did their job, and I'm a firm believer. Uh, when you collab together and everyone plays their role, and it's like, hey, let me be a superstar in my role, you really will win. And when you win, when the team wins, you win individually. It's just like I always think about this. Like, imagine Bill Gates. He has Microsoft, but everyone underneath him who may not be as known as Bill Gates, they're all billionaires too. That's multiple people.
No, absolutely. And you won the championship that year, and I believe you had two opportunities to close out the series, and you lost the first one, but then you won the championship at the end. I want to talk about the night before the first night. You may have not been sleeping great. Again, you went back to old habits of putting that pressure on yourself, to then
Yeah.
getting that reassurance from your teammates, to seeing how they react and looking around the locker room, and then to lock in and be confident knowing that you belong here. Talk about how you were able to fall asleep that night before the championship. What helped you relax and what helped you go into it confident, remaining confident that you'll be able to close this out and take the series?
I mean, the opponent we have, they were talking about super diligent, super. I would compare them to almost like a UVA style, super defensive, super methodical offensively, worked very hard. They're called Kamu Basket. And they're very respected in Europe as an organization because they play, I believe, FIBA Euro Cup. So going up against them, we knew it's always going to be a battle. It's going to be physical, and it was every game. But I think after we won after like I feel like any series, winning the opening game makes a big difference because no matter what, now you have a little lead, but also like you feel more confident because everyone has nerves. It's a championship. I mean, it's the playoffs. It's like you want to win. Like you've worked hard all year. But in terms of closing it out, I remember we lost the game to them at their place. We lost it by the like last second point. It wasn't our greatest game, but just like it was a very close game. So we were like, hey, listen, because they're playing at their place. They had a new, absolutely new arena, and their fans are like they travel everywhere they go. Their fans travel. So we were like, listen, we got to win this next game at home because honestly, we don't want to go back to their place to go play. Just like how Indiana was playing this year in the playoffs at home. They're different, so you're a different team at home, just like we are. So being able to that night, I think just trying to remain calm, trying to remain confident. And then once we saw how that first quarter was going, that we were playing well, we were like, oh, we're moving. We're good to go.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then here's where you and I get really connected and we get closer. So you go from, let me circle back real quick. So we go from born in Houston, raised in LA, then you go to Harvard, then you make your talents down to Mexico for a little bit, which we skipped over that because of COVID and everything. Then you end up in Canada to
Yeah.
play for Sudbury, and then Ottawa, and then Finland, and now back to Ottawa. So just to give you a perspective for everybody listening, if you play professional basketball, get ready for a lot of travel. It's a lot on the body, it's a lot on the mind, and being away from your family. So up to this point, what was your approach in keeping positive, being away from family for that long?
I think it's never easy. It's always, because I love my family, my brother, my sister, my family, my parents. Like I love them. So that's always never easy. But I think at that point, I just was like, hey, like you have an opportunity here. I want to make the most of it. And whenever I get a chance, I want my parents to be a part of this, whether it's traveling and bringing them over, all that's important to me. So we get to experience the world together. So it's like, I like sharing that experience, but it's hard. It's difficult. And guy who plays overseas, it's hard. It's isolating sometimes too.
Yeah. Now, what were habits that you fell back on that were positive during those times that you were, again, we can go into it, in Finland, in Slovenia, which we'll revisit afterwards, in Ottawa? What were things that you did for you that helped clear your mind and make the most of the situation? Because you can go down on yourself and feel bad and miss your family, but what did you do to stay positive through those times?
To be honest with you, I think I was so lucky, especially in Finland, to have the teammates I had. Renee was amazing. My friend Trey was amazing, another import from Dallas. And, Jeff was amazing. And these guys were amazing. So they made it a lot easier. to make it happen, to really kind of push through because they're your family. Like teammates are your family. We like to spend a lot of time with each other. You don't just get food out. Like we actually really enjoy each other's company. So in those moments where you're not home for Christmas, you're not home for these holidays, like teammates are your guys and they definitely were. So
No, absolutely.
that's what made it possible.
Yep. And then I'll go back to where you and I meet. So you then come back for a second stint with the Ottawa Blackjacks. And we had connected at the end of the season prior through an Instagram story that I had shared and I tagged you. And then I went to the hotel to go meet with another player, Walt Lemon Jr., to get a jersey. You and I ran into each other. And I remember the moment like it was yesterday where you recognized me and I introduced myself and you said, if I come back, let's get some work in together because I had told you I was a trainer. And I cannot even tell you the joy I had going home to know that you gave me a shot just through your voice and telling me that. It can mean nothing, but it gave me some confidence. And then that next year for you to come back and for me to have an influence in that decision means a lot to me. So I want to thank you for that. But I want to go more in specifics of the things we accomplished together. So we were able to run multiple events, starting with Booster Juice. We were able to support Helping with Furniture, which is a charity that basically, I can go on and on how great they are, but what they do is they focus on refugees and single moms that are escaping abusive relationships and giving them gently used furniture or necessities to help them refurbish their homes and build their lives back together. We were able to have an impact on them and making a donation to them. And I believe it was around that time in the second season as well that you got an injury to your knee. And I remember vividly, we were sitting in your hotel room and you could have been so down on yourself and so negative, but you remained positive throughout. I want to know, we'll go over more details with the charity work and everything we've accomplished, but that injury specifically, you were out for majority of the season. And in order to come back, they had to put needles in you, get you going through it to go play and try and compete for a playoff spot. Can you talk about first, what was it in you, so looking back at your entire journey, that told yourself, okay, I can overcome this. I can stay here. I can stay positive and make the most of the situation despite not playing basketball, which is your whole purpose of being here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. Yeah, the injury was unfortunate. I think, my faith in God and just in the process and how far I've come. I feel like uh, when you feel like at some point have reached rock bottom in terms of just like things aren't looking great. The beautiful thing about reaching rock bottom or feeling that moment that that's what's going on is that like I can't really get any lower than this. So when I looked at where my life was there, I just had a lot of gratitude and I was grateful. And even with the injury, I just kind of approached it like this: like things happen, I can't control it, but what I can control is my energy towards it. I think your energy, especially with negative situations, I'm a firm believer that how you respond to things says a lot about who you are as a person, and also just like I accept and I understand that in life, it's not always going to be it's not always going to be roses and positive. You're going to have those days. You're going to have those moments. I think the quicker you can kind of like try to just, what, and I turn this negative into a positive or turn it into like in my favor, that's how you start to overcome some of these difficulties.
No, absolutely. And the reason I want to touch on the injury before we get more into detail on all the charity work is because it was during that time of recovery, you still did those events. You still did a lot of work for others, even though you could have been at home pissed off in the hotel room, right? So you chose to go out there and do good by others in my community, and I am beyond grateful for that. So to add more to it, you also came to my youth night program, which is a Friday night program I ran for about 6 years, where I promote the importance of mental health for at-risk youth and teaching them how to use basketball as a tool to overcome mental health, whether it be anxiety, depression, just using basketball as a tool to help them be successful in those aspects of their life. Talk a bit about that experience and having the ability to go into a community where you're playing basketball, where you don't know anybody, and you get to just be there with your presence and knowing how much that means to everybody. What is that feeling like for you?
Yeah, and I'm going to even go back to just real quick to the last question. I think also just our connection during that period of time. Like we had each other. So I think you and your energy and what you brought just as a person and how much you care about the community and how much you care about me. And just I think that also was a big factor in that, right? Because if I'm having to deal with this alone, guys or like my teammates have to worry about their season and getting but the fact that we still had each other and we're still like, hey, you still were like, hey, let's grow together, let's watch film, let's do other things. Like that's important, just not keeping you focused on like I'm injured. You know what I mean? So we were recovering doing other things. We were still being impactful while we were there. So I think us together made a big difference in that. And thank you, my brothers. Truly, I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
In regards to youth night, man, youth night is really special to me because first off, it really, I think you're a testament to you can make anything happen. And the different strings you pull to make youth night a possibility for these kids so they can have the best experience ever and to experience the joy live, how much these kids were having fun, how much it was such a genuine excitement and fun to be there. And they listen to you. They want to listen to you. They want to learn. So, and given maybe some of the circumstances for, I don't know specifically, but just may not always be the best for every single kid, right? So for them to still come with that energy and you creating that outlet space, how can I not, me as a human, not receive that and feel that same energy? And that's how it felt being there. And it was exciting, it was fun, and absolutely memorable.
No, I appreciate that. And again, like I look back on that memory, and that's my favorite highlight. I think looking back on my entire youth night is just bringing in not only a professional basketball player, but a Harvard grad and someone who genuinely cares and wants to be there. I think that was one of the coolest experiences I've had, especially to do so in a community that is, again, it's a lot of community housing, it's single parent households, it's a lot of things that happen in that neighborhood specifically. So to have you come there was beyond impactful, and I appreciate you for the rest of my life for that experience. So thank you.
Good for each other, man.
In 2023, you then signed with the, bear with me, Kosa
Kurtka.
Karski. There we go, KRKA,
Yeah.
the club KRKA.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, things didn't pan out. You actually ended up getting cut from that team. So this was you could say your second experience not having things work out with the Raptors 905 to then
Yeah.
go to KRKA. Talk about that experience being there, what went wrong, and also talk about getting that news, how frustrating that must have been for you.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like I feel I learned so much and I'm so thankful to them and the opportunity. And it's a business, it's cutthroat. People are allowed to make decisions. I mean, so I don't really look at anything with too much. I think at the time it was just like frustrating like anything, but at the end of the day, like I'm so thankful to them and just thankful to God for because what ended up happening, it taught me so much, right? Because I had an amazing, was the center of the year in Finland, everything, all these accolades, winning a championship to like going to a completely different situation, that not working out. But then from there, being able to go to Africa, then from there, being able to go to France. Like I've never been to Africa before, and I'm
Mhm.
Nigerian. So getting to go to Africa, then getting to go to France, and then getting to like there's so much I learned about the business of basketball through
Yeah.
that moment. And like I'm not the type of person to sit here and point fingers. There's always things you can do better. But I'm forever thankful that they took a chance on me and it always worked out in my favor. So in the moment, to anyone obviously watching this, like certain things may happen to you and you sit there disappointed, frustrated, why me, why this? But sometimes you never know what it's setting you up for. Because I ended up going to Africa a week later. Literally a week later, I went to go play in Africa. And that opened a whole new door market for me, an experience that forever changed my life. I never look at it in a negative way.
So as you mentioned, even after setbacks, you stayed resilient and you found your next opportunity to play in Africa not even a week later. And now just to clarify, you went from Slovenia to Africa 1 week later. So that was unbelievable. So I want to know about after your time in Slovenia, you bounced back and you played in Africa a week later, like we mentioned, and you were dominant. Like you came out the gate so strong. I was watching every game. I remember like it was yesterday, and you had double doubles, 15 and 15, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks. Like you were all over the place. And I think even bigger than that, your touch and your free throws really improved off of the work that we had done as well. Talk about the willpower that you needed to overcome that setback of dealing with, again, getting cut from a team.
Uh, I mean, I think anything when you have you get to not feel like like in anything in life, start to question things. But I was really happy that I didn't have enough time to question it, and that the opportunity in Africa. So it just felt good to kind of like put myself on. Oh, just go be a beast. Go be a beast. And like, I love the game of basketball because it creates an outlet for you to express yourself. So instead of like, I could really express myself on the court by just playing hard, being a monster, and being the player I know I am. Not allowing, a situation or a circumstance to dictate that. I think the willpower was just like fighting any sort of self-doubt or any sort of questioning from within and just being like, what, forget all that, dominate yourself and show who you are. Because at the end of the day, sometimes things come down to like your pride. Are you willing to fight for what you believe in and for yourself to show that like I'm here to stay? Because a lot of these things that happen, or I feel like a lot of things that happen in my life, I could have easily been like, I'm done, I'm defeated. But that's just not who I am. I'm willing to, you know, go to the very end for what I believe in, who I believe in, and I believe in myself so much, even through the struggles and adversities and figuring things out. And it's like it's in my nature to be like, I'm gonna try my best. And if you get me and you defeat me or you have that, then kudos to you. But like, you're not gonna look at me and ever say, I didn't try and I don't have that in me. So that's mama mentality, baby. Shout out to Kobe.
Yeah,
Seriously.
absolutely.
It's
Oh, absolutely.
because everyone's gonna have setbacks. This is life. Like I can't
Hmm.
expect everything to be smooth. I think a lot of people sometimes things will go smooth. One little, oh, I'm done. Can't. People that are able to overcome that are the ones who are going to succeed with the great things.
Yeah. I was going to save this for the end as like a final message, but I think it's an appropriate time to mention it now. The way I look at it is the definition of success is to go from failure to failure without losing any enthusiasm. And I think up to this point, even looking back at how you're speaking on it, I remember those moments. I remember getting that call and you telling me, man, I just got cut from KRKA. And the first thing you said was, it's all good, on to the next. And you stayed positive throughout. And I was putting myself in your shoes to think, okay, you're going from Ottawa. Mind you, you're from LA. You're going from Ottawa to Slovenia to now who knows where, but you miss out on this opportunity. But if anything, one door closes, another one opens, and you get to go to Africa and you dominated out there. Like, you were unbelievable. So I think it's amazing to see, not only looking back on it now, to go through this process together and going through it and revisiting it, but even looking back and being there in those moments. I remember specifically the word willpower can sound corny, it's the name of the podcast, but how relevant that was throughout your life, especially moving forward from that moment.
Yeah, everything in my life has been, to be honest with you, the will, the power. I think the willpower to want to keep going and pursue it. Like when I wasn't playing basketball, and I never thought I'd play again. I had the willpower to lose 60 pounds, to go from
Yeah.
to like it's just I think it's in me, and I kudos to my family and just those Nigerian roots of just like, hey, you gotta fight for things you want. And that's what it is.
Absolutely. You follow that up from being in Africa, you move on to France.
Yeah.
Now, you played for Orléans
Mhm.
Loiret Basket.
Yes.
That, to that point, was hands down the biggest crowd and the most engaged fan base you've been around to that point. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Talk about that atmosphere, being in France, the culture out there when it comes to like how much they love basketball and the fan base, even beyond on the court. You're getting recognized on the street a lot. People are coming up to you asking for signatures and autographs and pictures. Talk about that.
No, amazing experience. I was only on a 1 month contract with Orleans. That actually was the team I was supposed to originally sign with before I went to KRKA, which was interesting how it works out. So they had an injury to the big end, which was really great just month because it got me in the French market. See how France is now with basketball. In terms of every year they're having a couple first round picks. Like, it's very well respected, very athletic, very strong players there. So it's amazing. The fans are super energetic. European fans are really passionate, but French fans especially, it's super, super energetic. And really love their teams and support them. So to be a part of that, to experience that, man, it is special. And anyone who's played in France knows like the leagues are very organized. The teams very much like they do things with a uh, certain standard, really good
Mm.
standard. So if you're an overseas player, an overseas guy, like you really appreciate the standard in which they try to do things in France and very professional.
Speaking of Dana, so you then transition to a new team. You play for Dana Voltaire Basket. And that's a club that, from my research that I've done, and obviously our friendship, doing my own homework on them, they have a really rich history.
Absolutely.
And you talked a bit about the cadence of the way people carry themselves, especially in the professional league in France and playing basketball. Everybody takes himself very seriously. It's to a high standard for everything. Now, in the NBA, you look at it, you got the Celtics, the Lakers. You could argue the Pistons. I'm a Raptors fan, so I don't like the Pistons, but that's my own thing. But the rich history makes a huge impact on the culture as a whole of the franchise, the way businesses ran. Success is the standard, right? It's not about making the playoffs, it's about winning the championship.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the rich history there, and did you feel that the moment you got with that club?
No, definitely. I think was a very special place. The fans there are so outstanding. I really appreciate them because I remember we had maybe like a couple game losing streak, but we were fighting hard. Some tough, close games. We had a whole road game in the south of France. We came back, we won the game. Our fans, we pulled up in our team bus, long trip. Fans were literally all lined up, like
Wow.
100 people were there cheering us on, so proud and excited for us. And I will never forget that because it's amazing how, even if I don't fully speak French, like just how sports brings people together. And it's like, wow. So that's something from there I was remembering. Really good people there. I made some lifetime friends there. It was cool to be like I really enjoyed it. It was close to other countries too. So get to explore
That's
Europe.
awesome. I love it. So now we're bouncing across the world again. We're moving on to Japan. So next up, you played for the Gifu Swoops in the B League.
Yes.
Can you speak a bit about the culture there and that shock of, again, you've gone, we can go through all the list again, but again, I'll pop it up on the screen. You can see everywhere you've been so far in your professional basketball career, but speak on the culture in your time there playing in Japan for the Gifu Swoops.
Was it amazing? Ifu is I'm very thankful for my time there, my experience there. We're the first team to ever make the playoffs in the organization, so that was big. Really thankful to Masasan, Gatsu, just everyone in the organization because of the opportunity. But just a lot of really good people. Japan is anyone who's been there or got very big on respect, very big on just kindness, teamwork. So everything I've heard about it was like that times 100. Just very kind, respectful people, very hardworking, very diligent team effort. The fans there, some of the best fans in the world. Like they're so like fans drawing pictures of you, like sketching artwork. They made the coolest. They made T-shirts. Like they did things that like they're just so creative as fans. I think they're the most creative fans I've ever seen in terms of
Wow.
this. Like I saw a fan come in a whole costume with like they are so Japanese fans are unbelievable. And they're so supportive and so respectful and so nice. And it's so interesting in Japanese culture. Like, whether you win or lose, even if you're playing at the opponents, they like you applaud, they applaud you and you bow and like it's just a respect nature no matter what. So it's so different as an athlete. Maybe you're used to like hostile environments. In
Yeah,
Japan, it's like everyone is so kind and so like it's really like they just come to enjoy the game and like cheer
mhm.
their team on, but it's like still a mutual respect for everyone involved. So that was
That's
unique.
amazing. I love it. Now, the coolest thing when I look back on this journey so far is everywhere you've been, however you want to measure success, whether it be by money you made or championships or won, it doesn't matter. To me, I look at impact. And everywhere you've been, you've made major impact. And I think Gifu Swoops is one of the biggest ones because that's the first time the team made it to the playoffs in franchise history. And the franchise has been around for over 20 years. So speak on the reaction of the fan base when realizing we're making it. Of course, it didn't end up in a championship, but just to know that we've gone from being a losing franchise to then make it to the playoffs, that's a big jump. That's a big deal.
That's a really big accomplishment. That's something that I'm very proud of because sometimes I feel like guys can come overseas and obviously they want to get their numbers, they want to perform well, but like I'm really big on, especially after experiencing winning, there's nothing like it. Like experiencing winning and making to that mountaintop, like I'm chasing that again. I'm always chasing that. So that high, that feeling, that dopamine. So to be able to even just accomplish the playoffs for a place that had never done that before, but obviously like a rich, great history was super special because it meant so much to the fans. It meant so much to the people of Geek. You know what I mean? Like we're representing actual areas that people live in. It's a part of people's lives. So for you to share that experience with them, hopefully enhance that together as them being the fans cheering you on, and also you guys being the players performing on the court and the coaches, everyone involved, staff who's setting up the games. Like, everyone has fun when you're winning. You know what I mean? So it was great. It was great.
Yeah, they love the game there. There's no question about it. It's telling because I remember watching all the streams and the fans, and like you mentioned, everybody being so intentional behind the way they support. It's awesome to see. I want to circle back, and I want to go back to making that transition from teenager living at home to going to Harvard and then moving on to playing professional basketball. That transition of going from, you could say mama's boy living at home to then moving on to be your own adult, be your own man. You have access to a lot more atmospheres, environments, and temptations. You can talk about, access to new environments like clubs, bars, casinos, or temptations, sex, alcohol, drugs, money, you name it. Can you tell me a little bit for the athlete that's about to make that transition to play professional, to play overseas, to go all over the world? They're going to have exposure to these temptations. What advice would you have for them?
I mean, the advice is like, I think number one, when you're in any other country, especially start your own, you need to be extra careful. That's number one. Like you hear about guys getting in trouble overseas. Like, there are different rules and different. You're a foreigner there, so like respect to the countries number one because um, it can be very dangerous just for you, your own like your safety, and also just like I always think about it this way whenever I'm going overseas, you're entering somebody else's home. So when you enter somebody else's home, I'm coming to Will's house. It's like no matter what, there needs to be respect there. I'm not gonna just kick up, put my feet up, and just this is an analogy, but it's not my house. This is your house. So there has to be like that mutual respect of when you come to people's house. And I think that's really important. And number two, you got to keep the main thing the main thing. Man. Like you're there for a reason. You have a job to do. You know what I mean? You have a job to do. You're a hired professional, hired contracted worker and it's literally in a contract to like give your best effort and to be fit to perform. So like you have to keep the main thing the main thing. I just can speak on for myself and just staying out of any silly things, man, or just any type of situations. You have to really move smart and move correct. So just keeping yourself in the right environment. You're an adult now. So no one's gonna feel bad for you. You're gonna feel like you have to just move carefully and really remember your why. That's the biggest thing. Remember your why. I know me, my purpose. One is God's the biggest thing for me, and it's my family. Number three is I have an opportunity to live my childhood dream, to play the game of basketball. So the biggest thing is you have to remember that this is a privilege. And the thing that comes with privilege comes responsibility. I think it's simple as that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I want to remain on the topic of a message to young athletes specifically because you're traveling so much. Dating is difficult. Like, there's no question about it, right? And I have a stat for you I want to share that I don't think you'll believe. It's impressive. 86% of marriages in the NBA end in divorce.
Yeah.
86%. Can you speak a bit on the challenges when it comes to maybe the advice you would give to a young person that wants to date, what they should maybe look into or look out for when it comes to, okay, I'm about to be traveling all over the world, but I'm in love and I want to be with this person. But what is the biggest challenge other than you can speak on the distance? But again, it's the commitment to the schedule. It's the loss of maybe connection to the Wi-Fi because you're in different places in the world. Speaking a little bit on the dating advice you'd give to a young athlete that's about to make that jump to professional basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just need to find the right person, the right partner who's going to be able to support you on that journey. However, your form of communication is, I think communication is key. Just like on the court, communication is key in life and at your level. Expectations, what are you going to, what's going to be here? I feel like if you're in constant communication and you're having conversation and you're trying to fix things in terms of like, hey, this might be lacking here. If you're not able to have those conversations, that's when things start to kind of go in different directions. I think being overseas, everything is possible, right? Because people have done it before, but it's going to maybe take a little extra effort because this is not like just in general to my young athletes out there. It's not a typical lifestyle. It's unique. It's one of the most unique lifestyles you'll live. You could be anywhere, any place, anytime, anywhere in the globe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know your situation. So with that comes a lot of you have to kind of organize yourself. If you have other people in your life that are very important that you want to continue to connect with, you have to be someone who's probably understanding of your lifestyle and also like making sure you do your part to make sure that person knows who is loved, welcome, etc. Not just from dating partner, but just family in general. Because you are
Yeah.
part. You can get distracted.
Relationships in general. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love it. Now, looking back as a whole, even as a professional basketball player, I think the funniest misconception that normal people have, the people that live the everyday life, you think he's playing professional basketball, he's got it figured out, he's making a lot of money. You're playing the Sudbury Five and the CBL for the Blackjacks. This is not generational wealth like it is in the NBA. So what did you do to extract value from those experiences besides it not being the most, money lucrative jobs that you're having, but you're drawing value to it somehow, right? I know it because I've worked with you and we've built a brand. We've talked about building events and networking, but I want it to come from you. What did you do to extract value from those experiences besides the paycheck?
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with people. Like I said, it's a privilege to be able to play this game, to sit back, spend their money to cheer you on, and to want to support you and see you literally. They want to literally see you win. I mean, like people are paying to see you win. Is a very it's a privilege and it's very special. And I think for me, I've always given my circumstances of how I've kind of bounced back and basketball came back into my life. Um, I always found myself just with a lot of gratitude because this could have not been my situation. Like I came back from not playing the game for almost 3 years, and to come back and play, I thank God every day that it was possible that my body even allows me. My body's healthy enough to move around. So I think that for me was more than enough. So even just and even just the confidence and the swagger of being a basketball player because I didn't have that right. I was not playing for three years, so to come back to the game, I just was like, let's go. Like the energy was already there. Like, I think it's really important to understand that like people appreciate what you do in your craft. How many times do people get to wake up to a job where people cheer them on? Genuinely, like most people don't experience that. So I think sometimes you just need that perspective of like, this isn't normal because it might be normal for some guys. They've been doing it for so long. But after literally stop not playing basketball, going back into the quote unquote real world, working a job or creating a company as I was doing, and going back into basketball, I see it so differently now because I have those different points of views and perspectives.
I love it. And I want to look back on the early 20s. You transitioned to professional basketball. Now you're in your early 30s. Looking back in your 20s, what's the difference between now and when you started and how you measure success?
Great question. I think like I've always measured success is the people you impact and really trying to go into these places and understand their culture. Because at the end of the day, you take the basketball away, these are just people. And I think it's really important that you understand people's humanity. Just for me personally, I don't know other people point to these out, but like for me, that's always because at the end of the day, like in this life when it's all over, you can't take the money with you, can't take any of the stuff with you. But the experiences, the memories, like these are things for a lifetime. I feel so grateful and so much just gratitude to be able to have experienced that, to be able to travel to different parts of the world and get to play and get paid to play basketball. And I literally have friends. I can say I literally have friends all over the world that we've sacrificed together, we've broken bread together, we've been on the court together, no matter what the situation with the team was or anything. So I think for me that is I don't know if there's any specific like what is different from now. But I do just appreciate that like through my personal story to still be here standing after everything, to still be playing this game, to look and feel physically just great to keep going. And like I said, the standard's always winning. I want to win. So I think
Yeah.
that's like I'm looking to. I want to win that gym.
I love it. And I think circling back to the question I asked you earlier about how to extract value from different experiences that may not be the ideal scenario, the ideal situation for yourself. You got to go on USA Today and star in a show or star in a series, a 2-part series called Game On. So you got to actually go to China. Correct me, I believe it was for a month.
Yeah.
And you got to visit different cities, but showcasing a tournament that highlights the culture of basketball out there. But it's such a big tournament that involves different villages around China that come here and compete. And you mentioned it, I think in the series you had Jimmy Butler that actually showed up to this. Could you share a bit about that experience and even what that tournament is all about?
Yeah, the CHIP which is the Village Basketball Association. I was very lucky to be selected to be the host. It's a very unique experience. I literally spent a month in different villages in China, real villages, ox walking around farm. I was in, you know, rice fields with no shoes on, like picking fish out the rice water. So it was one of the most unique experiences of my life. And still, well, it's so amazing that we were able to connect with people and their love for basketball in China. The Trinity A was amazing. It's incredible. It's a village basketball association, but they play in an arena that has like an outdoor arena that's like 30,000 people training who love basketball in different age groups, and they're all fighting for their village. And the village puts money together for the to be in the tournament. It's amazing, and it's not just a 1 week tournament. There's tournaments going all throughout the year. So just see the game I love. Not even just like played internationally, but like to actually see it in the NBA and the villages of China to see the rich history, life changing experience, and a unique experience like that. To be able to host the show with you guys today, I'm very thankful.
Just for anybody listening and watching, I'm going to put the link down below if you want to check out that 2-part series. Unbelievable. Highly recommend it. It's a really cool watch. Now, following up your basketball career, now we're going to talk about more the present. So you can see you've got the shirt on, you got the hat on, you've started the Dream Big brand, and you just released a book, Zeke's Big Leap. So I want to hear about that. What inspired you to do that? What's your why? What's your why behind this project now?
Thank you. My why for Dream Big, I want to put it up here. I'm really proud of this because for me, Dream Big, Seeks Big Leap is basically not just taking my personal story of triumph of trying to like, not triumph, just my journey, adversity to try to get into Harvard and put it to a book, but really I just wanted to create something for it to hesitate, to feel that kind of like, am I good enough? Can I do this? And I just really think it's so important that we instill, like just like how you're doing with youth, like, young people are very impressionable. And I think when you put the right impressions around it in terms of like, hey, you can do it. Because I feel like at that stage in life, like most people in on a daily basis, it's about your self-confidence and your belief that this dream is possible. So I think the book was so important to me. It was me also following the dream of wanting to become an author, but also like creating a message that like I 1000% stand so strongly by for kids to dream, believe, and to follow their beliefs and to not be afraid to go on that journey. I don't look at things as failure or a L. I just look at it like a lesson. But you won't know anything until you go on that journey. So if we can continue to inspire, help young people with this, and just people in general, we all need it, with their self-confidence and self-esteem, um, and empower them to know that it's possible. Like, look where we're at right now. You said, hey, I'm going to create a podcast. We're on this podcast right now. But you have to believe in yourself and take away any, like, hey, I want people to watch it. And just do it and be willing to put yourself out there. So that's my biggest thing with Dream Big. Just telling these young people that, hey, you are capable, you are smart, you are enough. If no one else is telling you that, Zena will. And I hope that you and the people around you will. The thing is just creating this movement of positivity and also just like empowering people to see the greatness in themselves. We've all been there where it might be a coach, it might be a family member just telling you like, hey, you did a good job today. Like how much that meant to us, how much that kind of like, oh, I can, you know what I mean? Oh, I can do this. And we all as human beings need that, you know. I feel like we're all kind of always battling our inner child to some degree. Not battling, but always just like there's this relationship that we have as growing adults and also our inner child. So we can help the next generation to keep dreaming big. That's what matters.
I love it. And I think the coolest thing that you're saying is the need of that self-reassurance, the importance of having it come from external, but to read the words of affirmation and communicate them. I think the coolest thing with the videos that you're posting on your social media is having the kids read alongside with you and reminding themselves to dream big, reminding themselves that they are capable, they can do anything they put their minds to. And I think to speak on your character specifically and your impact on me, I mean, I got the jersey in the back. My big head was covering it the whole time, but I wanted to highlight this towards the end of the podcast. That's the jersey he gave to me. That gift to me is something I'll cherish with me for the rest of my life. But to come across such an amazing human being like yourself that's lived a one-of-one life, I think it's amazing how you can explain your journey and provide tools and lessons learned, and everybody that lives an everyday life can get value from it. Such as myself, I have a day job, but the idea came about a month ago today, actually, I believe. No, it was less than a month ago. It was 27 days ago. I couldn't sleep, and I said to myself, man, my best friend is writing a book. He's a professional basketball player. Why can't I do something, right? And I've done a lot in my life, but I think for me, the idea of the podcast, to have the ability to do it within 3 weeks and accomplish what I've accomplished in those 3 weeks and to be able to say I'm live, I'm doing it now. I think I drew a lot of inspiration from your story and from your impact you've had on me as a friend. So I appreciate you.
Oh man, I appreciate you, brother. To be honest with you, my cousin actually wrote a book too before about a year and a half ago. And when I saw him write a book, that inspired me. So it's just like we can inspire like that momentum, and then it's like, you know what I mean? It creates that snowball
Exactly.
effect in a positive light. So that's amazing, bro. And I'm just proud of you for taking action. It's like you always
Thank you. Now, I've been interviewing you this whole time. I want to give you the floor. If you want to ask me any questions, I'm here. Just give me 1 second. I got a special guest who wants to make an appearance right now. So I want to introduce Kiwi to everybody who's listening at home. This is my miniature Dachshund, or Dachshund, as some people say. So she'll be joining alongside me for these questions you have for me. So any questions you wanted to ask, I'm all ears.
How does it feel to have your first podcast? Like,
I feel good. I remember like my last project, again, when I had started it 6 years ago, I went into it not really knowing what to expect and what I'm doing. And looking back on it, I mean, there's been, you can say mistakes, but like you mentioned, it's learning opportunities. And I think for now, this journey in the last 3 weeks alone has been a learning opportunity completely in itself. But I think that going into it now and having accomplished the first episode, I'm proud, I'm happy, and it's something that I can look back on, that I've documented, that I know will make a positive impact on the people listening.
I love that for you.
Yeah, man.
How do you feel during
Amazing.
this process? Obviously, you moved quickly to create the podcast in terms of just like, you were like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Were there times it was frustrating where you kind of questioning yourself, or you're like, should I do it? Should I? Or did you feel like, you know what, this is I'm done?
No, questioning myself, absolutely not. I think just like your book, the impact of positive affirmations, I went to this so confident, and I know that I have a story to tell, and I know I have a lot of cool people within my network and people I'm going to continue to learn from. Having content of substance and allowing listeners to learn, I think that's something that isn't done enough, because I think with the human attention span is so small now that people are used to short form content. I want to create long form content that people can draw value from. So I think for me, it's really about the impact it's making. It's fulfilling for me because I get to learn. I learned so much about you, and you're my closest friend. And it's so cool to give you the chance to be able to look back in retrospect, because you always hear it with professional players that you snap your fingers and it's done, because your athletic career is not going to be the longest. But for you to be able to sit here today for an hour and look back on your journey and revisit every step of the way, I think that's really cool. And for me to join you on that journey, I think it's the best. So for me, I go into it confident because I trust my abilities. I've lived quite a life, and I have a lot of stories I'll continue to share on the pod, but more importantly, giving people like you the platform that have lived amazing lives that can then inspire the next generation as well.
Man, I'm proud of you. And for you,
Thank you.
what is the ultimate, like, what does success look like for you on this podcast? Or like not
I
even
love
success.
it.
What do goals look like for you on this podcast in terms of just you internally? Whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
For sure. And I think I'll transition into that afterwards. I have a segment I want to go into afterwards where I gave the chance to some followers to ask some questions. But to answer your question directly, I think I would measure success truthfully by, am I excited to do this? And I
Yeah.
have no monetary goals. I have no goals of saying that I want to get big sponsorships and become a YouTuber. Like for me, it's truthfully, it's about this last 3 weeks, I could say honestly has been somewhat exhausting.
Yeah.
Just as far as technology and figuring all the things out with the lights and the microphone and the audio and it's been a learning experience in
Looks
itself.
good. Shout out to you and
I
Bryce.
think it looks great. I'm happy with it for sure. I appreciate that. And it's been such a blast doing it, right? And I couldn't do it without my number two, Bryce Anderson. I'll put his Instagram down below as well. He's been supporting me through this process and this journey. And I think that getting the opportunity to interview people virtually from all across the world, but also in person within my network, I think that's going to be really cool as well. So I guess those are the takeaways over this journey so far.
Amazing. I think that's
Amazing. So I'll transition real quick. I'll put Kiwi down. So our final segment is I gave the chance to some followers to ask some questions to myself and to my guest. So if you guys want to check out my Instagram, it's willpower.podcast on Instagram. About once a week, I'll be posting an Instagram story where you get the chance to ask questions to myself or the guest that I have on. So I'm going to start off and I'll place it on the screen once it's all edited, but I'll read it out to us. From my guy, Vanna, what do you want audiences to really get out of this podcast? And I mean, I think doing this at the end is so perfect because the answer is already there. It's been given. It's about understanding that nobody's got it all figured out. Like Zena's lived a one-of-one life. He's an author. He's a Harvard graduate, a professional basketball player, but he went through so many downs and so many times there were setbacks, but he overcame that. And I think that's what I really, really want this to be about. And that's what the audience will pull from it. If it's anything you wanted to add, I would love to hear your thoughts as well.
it's like literally in the title. It's the willpower to keep persevering.
For sure. Following that, I have two questions from my guy Elias. For you, for me, that would be what made you want to begin the podcast and what's your goal? What made me want to begin it? I think it's two aspects of this question. I'll try and keep it short. I think when you do something for 6 years, which is a quarter of my life, you can lose yourself in that process. And I've done so much work for the community where I think it became my identity, where it started to make impact on other aspects of my life and I lost myself. And I think that like any ambitious person or any person who's successful in life, having the ability and the skill to reinvent yourself is so key. And I think for me, this was a perfect opportunity for me to kind of channel off and do something that I love, but in a way that I can reinvent myself and do it in a way that feels mutually beneficial. Not to say that, Willpower Basketball and the youth nights wasn't beneficial to me, but this to me is more about I get to learn and I get to do this in a no pressure environment where I get to interview cool people and people listening get to join alongside. And what my goal is, I went over that with you already, so I won't bother answering that. Now for Z, this is same from Elias. What made you want to be an author and write a book?
Not about stop being afraid or hesitating in any way, and really like I thought about one day reading this to my own kid, and I hope that with my message and what I'm trying to say on that day, thankfully, hopefully soon, I'm blessed with my own seed to let them know that that wants them to dream big and know that they can accomplish it. And so in that regard, it wasn't just about me. It was really just about the future and to want to leave something that dream big. That long after my time on this earth is over, that this story, this movement, this voice, the affirmations, the pledge, this will still live on. Even if it's just one person, like, it'll still live on. Hopefully, it's continue to inspire people long after this. So for that, I was like, why would I miss that opportunity or hesitate to create that impact and to leave that legacy or just list a message at the least that I'm proud of and I truly stand by.
I love it. And I think it speaks to so much more than an athlete, right? You're so much more than that. And you've used basketball as a vehicle to build your career and build yourself up to be who you are today. But then you've recognized, how can I use this tool? How can I use what I've learned from it and apply it to ways that it can make real, genuine impact besides just on the court, right? So I think that's beautiful. This one's for both of us, from my guy, Alonzo. Bear with me. I'll let you go first on this one. What's some advice you would give to someone who's having trouble succeeding?
I think success is relative. I think every day you live and breathe on this earth is success. So I feel like you need to redefine what success is and find gratitude in the simplest of things. A lot of times people can, oh, I'm not successful because of this. No, you woke up alive and healthy today. You're successful already. Like you woke up with an opportunity to change your life. Some people wake up and it's literally they're living in the toughest circumstances and they still find a reason to smile. So I feel like sometimes we got to change what obviously success is relative to the person and whatever their idea of that is. But to me, I define it as just the simple ability to live, to be in health, to to find gratitude in the simplest of things. And I think if you start to simplify that, and I feel like when we start to say, I want more, 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 I think you should definitely aspire and want all these things in your life. Sometimes it's just as important to just be like, I'm grateful that I'm existing in the now, uh, and I'm alive and okay. And I think that's the first step. And then from there, you start to look at things hopefully a little bit differently because you've appreciated just the little simplest of things that already exist to you that
I
don't
love it.
cost anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think just to add to that, again, we talked about it earlier, Zena's entire journey, the ability to go from failure to failure and not lose any enthusiasm. I think that it comes down to those two things, everything Zena said, and then just to finish it off with just maintain that positivity. You may feel like you're struggling right now, but you could wake up tomorrow and everything could be different, right? When one door closes, another one opens. So it's just keeping that positive perspective, keep pushing forward and keeping that willpower. That's what it's all about. So with that, I will conclude this. Zena, I want to say thank you so much for being here today. Give me your time, and thank you for being inspiration to everybody in the community, everybody you've impacted in your life. I also want to remind all the viewers down below, you can follow Instagram on social media. You can find Dream Big, Zeke's Big Leap book. You got the ebook, the hardcover book, and even the signed version of the book if you're interested. And if you want to follow me on social media, it's at willpower.podcast. Zena, is there any final message you'd like to give out?
Man, I just want to, obviously thank everybody. Thank you, Will. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of everything you've done just in the community. I think how much it involved people. To any of you guys out there, anything you guys are going through, continue to believe in yourself. We're dealing with mental health, so many different things in the world. Stay positive to the best of your abilities, but know you are important. Keep dreaming, keep believing in yourself. And I really want you guys to make sure you tune into my brother Willpower's podcast because he's someone who stands by his message and he truly believes in it and he truly believes in people and helping people. And I think the gems and the messages we're going to get on this podcast as it continues to grow and move forward, they're going to be so powerful and just will change your day, will honestly change your life and hopefully your perspective, just like he's helped me and many others. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me, brother. Willpower
Thank
Podcast.
you.
Episode
I love
1.
you, man. We'll talk soon. Love you, bro.